My name is Neil Thrussell. If you've already seen a few of these, you know who I am, and I'm really excited to welcome. Oh my goodness, I hope I get this. Saluja, Michelle Saluja.
Correct.
Woohoo!
Correct.
Michelle is a registered slow down. A registered psychologist, a coach, a business owner, and she loves to coach therapists, spiritual healers that want to have an impact within their online space. And welcome, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Neil, for having me. Like, I've been watching some of the amazing people that you've already had. My goodness, there's such this wide, diverse perspective of success, which I'm just loving.
And I'm just soaking it up and I'm loving it as well. And I love the fact that you're in Australia. And for once in with Australia, I'm not having, don't jinx it, I'm not having technical issues with Wi-Fi or the landline. It's like I'm going, what is
Uh,
with your country?
well, we won't start on that. That's a different show.
Well, I've been there twice and I absolutely love it. And for both times I've been there, they still haven't convinced me to try their beer. I do not like beer. And so they almost kicked me out of the country.
Well, there's something to it. So the good old, VB,
Yeah,
very traditional. Not into it myself, but look, next time you're here, maybe third time's a treat.
wonderful. Because, yeah, I would love. So I'm going to just ask you to think back and transport yourself back to a time in your youth. It could be the 15-year-old you, the high school, the younger you, the college you, the first date you, whatever version that comes and first pops
Mhm.
into your mind. And what do you think success meant to you back then? Or was even success a word?
Look, it's interesting. I've been listening to what everyone's been talking about, and as you do, you start going back to your own childhood and young adulthood, and just focus on what it was, what you thought it was. And it was interesting. So what came up for me was there wasn't real any definition of what success was, in terms of, it wasn't a word that was thrown around the house. You need to do this to succeed. You need to do that to succeed. So the only definition, or the only experience of success for me, was very much that traditional version of that is, goodness, they're successful because they've got a nice house, they've got a nice car, they've got their kids in private school, they go on nice holidays. So for me, when I look back, I never really attributed anything as being successful. It was just, I had to do things, I did this or did that, just getting a job. I didn't attribute that to success. Going to university, I didn't attribute that to success either. It was just a progression through life. So I just floated through life with no real connection to the word for many, many, many years.
Oh.
Mm.
So when do you think or feel that this word came across your desk, your conscious, your awareness? When do you think?
Ooh. Look, because I've had many things in my life, so many ups and downs, as many of us have. And I went through quite a toxic relationship. And once I left that, there was a lot of work that I ended up doing on myself. I inadvertently fell into the personal development, world, which was just phenomenal. It just made such a huge difference to my life. And it was there that I actually heard the term, and I was able to use it for myself. It's not like I hadn't heard it anywhere else. Like, you hear it thrown around all the time. But in terms of my own personal experience and my own personal journey, is what then did success look for me? What did I want to do to be successful in my life? So it was not until then that I started to really question what it looked like, how I could show up as that person, what I could actually do to actually bring that in. So it was probably, goodness, that was probably my 30s. So quite a while ago.
Um, You don't look that old, Michelle. So you must be telling us a fib. Oh, um, so when you're talking, so what is, so now that you didn't know what success was, you were just living your life.
Mm,
You went through toxic relationships. You've got ups and downs in life.
yeah.
You hit the mother lode, and you discovered personal growth or personal development, personal empowerment, whatever word that you want to use. And now we take the transport machine and we move us to where we are right here and right now. Do you have a definition of what success looks like?
Oh, and that's a great question as itself because it feels like it's an evolving definition. We go back in time and we have this traditional version of what success looks like, and so many people still have that. But success, I think you've got to be really careful on how you define it because, it leaves such an expectation in your own world of which, if those expectations aren't met, then you're faced with that sense of potentially feeling like you haven't succeeded, which comes back and can slap us so kindly on the face, and we start to have those limiting beliefs about who we are, what we think we're capable of doing, and often they're the negative ones, not necessarily the positive ones, if we're not careful. So that definition of success for me is, I think it's something that I've learnt to really look at, and whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, depending on where my life is at and how life is flowing, is learning to redefine it again. What does that look like for me right now? What do I need to do to feel successful? What do I need to, experience to actually say that I'm feeling that success? And that could go from something really small to something really impactful.
Absolutely. I, yeah, it could be as simple as
Mm.
able to afford a meal, or it's as simple as to have the freedom to go out
Oh,
or feel safe in your own home. It could be so
yeah,
many things because we all have gone through our own personal battles and wars, and success usually it's we wherever we are, I believe we equate success when we've gone through the battle and we've survived, and we always add that, and I don't
correct.
want to do that again, so I know I'm successful because I've lived through it.
Oh, look, absolutely. Look, I've got a psychology business that I've been running very close to 9 years now. And people's version of success is very traditional, like we were talking about before. But again, those expectations get in the way of them feeling like they're able to empower themselves to take control back of their own lives. So when you start talking to people and helping them redefine what that can look like, little things like some of my clients, if they just get up and they just get out of bed, looking and saying, well, you know what, that's my success for today. And for some people listening, they might think, well, that's so small. But it doesn't matter how small or large it is, because I think every day is very, very different. And for some people, every moment is really, really different. And hence why, for myself, I'm always redefining it because I have to. Because, the journey to success isn't a straight road.
What?
I know, right? Like, no one told me when I started a business that the journey to success isn't a straight road. I thought I was just, open the business and I'm just booming. But it
Yeah.
has had so many ups and downs, but I love it.
You know, put the sign on the door and then sit back. Okay, customers
Correct.
coming. Yeah,
If only it was that simple, but it's not that simple.
yeah.
But this is,
I, I,
yeah.
I, I love. Let's take a person who's a success. Let's just simplify it. That a person's version of success is
Mm,
getting up in the morning.
mm,
We haven't talked about this on the show yet, but let's work with that.
yeah.
What do you think or feel
Mm.
is the skill or something that they need to work on just to get them to that point in time? We're not talking drugs. What is it inside of a
No.
person?
Look, how I perceive it is, let's just look at traditional goal setting to sort of put it into a framework. Is we have this goal, we could have this big, huge ass goal that we want to aim for, and we all know that we just don't jump from A to B. That a lot of this is steps. We take little steps to get there. So let's put this in the framework of someone who their success is just getting out of bed. You know, there's a lot of little micro habits that happen to even get there. You know, it could be just setting the alarm clock and waking up at that time. You know, it could be setting the alarm clock, waking up at that time, and actually sitting up. You know, you could do that again, plus then stepping out of bed. And then we do that, because when you're looking at mental health, you know, when I'm working with my psychology clients, when I've got that hat on, sometimes they're big steps. Getting out of bed is huge in terms of how they
Absolutely.
feel. Correct.
And and that's success, because I'm not
Correct.
defining it, but yet the same plan or the same intention or the same framework works
Mm,
when you have a big, hairy, audacious goal. It works.
absolutely.
And
Mm,
that's the whole piece. It's like, I don't say what success is for anyone else other than myself, but the
mm,
steps are similar. So what we've just really said, you need some form of plan to reach,
correct.
and then you need some form of resilience and willpower to
Mm.
take a step, to make the choice, to make this step. Because it could be terrifying to set the alarm clock.
Well, look, absolutely. When you're dealing with emotions, and you know, it's funny how emotions can be the block to actually getting the things done that we need. So when someone's not feeling great, it is huge. It's massive. You know, even for some people, getting in the shower, even for some people, getting out the front door, to back to creating those hairy, audacious goals of which we want to have maybe massive impact in the world and help thousands of people. All of this is about planning, and all of this is about taking and creating those micro habits that allows you to have progress and take a step. And sometimes, you know, we're looking at life like a child. You know, a child doesn't just, you know, they're not, well, you know, as soon as they're born, they're not running.
What?
I know, right? Again, another aha moment for many people is they actually start moving, they start rocking, and then they start, you know, getting up on all fours, then crawling, then pulling themselves up. You know, there's all these little steps before they get to that. So for some people, they can jump, they can run, they can do the things that they need to do, but some just need to shuffle.
And that's beautiful, because it's really about to me, it's about the resilience. Wherever you are, you just need to keep shuffling, moving forward.
Correct.
Could you imagine if we were to had to teach the average adult with the current mindset to walk? Okay, you were just a blob till you were a full-grown adult, and now you needed to walk. So many of us
Mm,
would be still a blob. It's not going anywhere, because as soon as I fail once, just
correct.
once, I'm done.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you again working with clients in my psychology clinic who are in the process of being rehabilitated, so they've had an injury and such, it's that expectation that they should be doing all the things that they used to be doing, but they can't do all those things. So, you know, expectations can be a killer to the success that we want, because if we're not achieving those expectations, then for many of us, again, there's that sense of failure.
And this force can be used. This thing called a brain can be used as a force of good or a
Mhm.
force of evil and
Correct.
negativity. So it's positive. And I encourage, if you want to be successful, you need to be realistic and look at the pimples and warts and find out where you are, but
Correct.
then move to this sense of positivity and go, well, I can't do it, but move to, how can this occur? How do I know? What's my next step? This place
Correct.
of inquiry of like, what do I need to do now?
Correct. Curiosity is key. And I love that. Just a simple shift of language starts taking you down a different path. Love that.
Oh, this is I need my bigger clock on this thing. Oh, okay. So we still got a few more minutes. It's just like I can't recognize when it's at 16. It looks too close to 18. So I'm like, ah. This is one of the joys of getting older, having the privilege, and I look at it as a privilege of getting older, because not so many, but I have friends that have not had that privilege to grow old with me. And it's, so I need some reading glasses. So what? But I'm still on this side of the grass. And I have
Yeah.
friends that are not on this side of the grass. So I'm like,
Correct. And it's that simple concept of, getting up and being able to breathe each morning could be that simplistic version of success for someone.
absolutely. And
Mm.
I think one of the underpins that we've alluded to is you need to define wherever you are in whatever situation you're in from a
Yeah.
place of realistic viewing of your life, and
Mhm.
look at where you are, and
Correct.
be open and curious as to what it is you want. What it is you want to achieve from a place of curiosity, and not from, well, I can't get it. So why do I go? Let that go. Just be curious and be willing to look at it.
Very, very much so, because you find so many new things in that state of curiosity.
Absolutely. So as we're slowly winding ourselves up, yeah. Well, it's your morning, so you're getting ready, wound up, and it's I'm getting ready for a meal break. Thank goodness. What would you like to leave our current audience with, and
Mm.
our audience that's going to watch this in replay and listen to this in replay? What would you like to leave the audience with?
Look, my goodness, that I could sit here for another half an hour to leave people with something, but again, I was sitting there, what golden nugget could I leave people? Short of what we've already spoken about in terms of, please redefine success. Check in. It could be every day, every week, or every month, depending on where you're at. Keep redefining it. But the one thing, Neil, I came up with was remove the people pleaser, because the people pleaser could be the downside to you feeling the success that you want, because you're not listening to hear. You're not following the path that
Yep,
your heart's desire. So remove the people pleaser, because this is your journey. Anyone who's listening, this is your journey.
absolutely. And apparently, you have a beautiful fan by the name of Beth Heaton,
That's my mother. She is my absolute best fan. Absolute. Mwah.
and it's wonderful. And we talked about it off screen, and I'm looking at the time. Okay, we talked about it in the green room of the cheerleader, the very importance of having people in our corner and cheering us. And it was so beautiful that your mom chose to join us wherever she is. Thank you, Mom.
Oh, she's beautiful. Mm.
And so thank you, and we will talk soon.
Wonderful.
So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you for joining me.